How easy is it to go from this ortho imagery that I downloaded from New York State to a fully classified image? You can see here it did a great job getting the boundaries of the houses, the streets, and even the water up here, some of the forest and kind of the lower lying vegetation, or something that just grabs the outlines of the buildings. So here we've created these building outlines. So I remember doing this manually back in the day for some of my first GIS jobs, and I'm kind of blown away by how quick and easy this is to run in ArcGIS Online with some of the pre-built models and tools that are up in the Living Atlas. I'm going to show you quickly how you can do the same thing. So first, I started in New York State has a fantastic tool to go and find and download imagery. Here you can see the results for some orthos that are available from 2017. And for any of these, I can then go and download those tiles. In my example case, I downloaded just 4 different tiles. First and foremost, your first step in ArcGIS Online is going to be to make sure your users are licensed with the ArcGIS Image for ArcGIS Online tool. So all of your users in education now have the ability to be licensed with this user type extension. So just ensure that you have that license applied for all of your users as a default or added on to existing users. After that license is added, users can go select new item and then create imagery layers. Here I'm going to click imagery layer and create a tiled imagery layer. I'll create a mosaicked image. So we're going to be just pulling in those 4 data sets. And then right from my downloads, I can just go grab those folders and drag and drop them. And the software will just start pulling them in and uploading them. After your data is processed and you've given some names for it, after your data is processed, you can just add it directly into a web map. In this case, we're using the Map Viewer Classic. And here is where I wanted to showcase some of the incredible tools that are available. So under the Analysis ribbon, we can select Raster Analysis, which is now enabled because of that user type extension. And there's an option here for deep learning. If I select deep learning, let's try to do some object detection using deep learning. So detect objects. If I select this option, it pulls me into the Analysis ribbon. I have my input selected. I'm going to grab the original layer, and then I'm going to choose a deep learning model. When you make that selection, it'll pull you into a view that lets you search through your own content. And here you just want to do the drop down and make sure you enable the Living Atlas. After that's selected, you now have currently about 49 different deep learning packages you can just point to and use as a service. And the first one we have selected here is the building footprint extractions. And the caveat here with any of these is they were trained for certain data sets and certain locales and certain inputs. So just be aware of that. And for any of these, you can click the details and then follow the guide for this model in the documentation to understand what the best inputs are or what some of the limitations of that model might be. I'll select this building footprint extraction model. I have some parameters I can then fill out for the model and hit run the analysis. After that analysis is run, that result will just be put right into your map viewer, and you can use this layer in the map viewer, in Map Viewer Classic, or in any other tool. And I've just been blown away by some of the results. I didn't try to find an area that was a perfect fit for this model, and it did an excellent job giving those results back to me for the buildings, as well as for classifying the land use. So my big ask is just have you go explore what models are currently available. There's a lot of these deep learning packages currently up in the Living Atlas, and you can just use them as a service. And for any of these as well, if you want to, I'll select it. You could then download this model to tweak the parameters and tweak the settings, or you can just use it directly as a service as I just did. There's a lot of really cool options available. And students, even in introductory courses, could start diving in and using some of these models and tools, and also hosting their own imagery. So hope you got some quick tips, and I think there's a lot of really cool resources up here, especially these models to start diving into.